Hello Everione.
Today, we're going to talk about a subject that may challenge some long-held beliefs about getting a good night's rest. Since we were children, we've all heard the saying, early to bed, early to rise, makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. That idea is as ingrained in us as the habit of brushing our teeth. It has become a core principle of health, especially for those of us navigating our middle and senior years. Going to bed early can feel like the best defense against aging and the most reliable way to keep our energy up. But what if I told you that for people over the age of 70, this trusted habit could actually be a significant health misstep? If you find yourself feeling sluggish during the day, even though you go to bed before most people, or if you wake up often during the night and struggle to get back to sleep, the problem might be something you never considered. You may be going to bed too early. This isn't just a theory. It's based on the latest findings from doctors and sleep scientists. We tend to believe that more sleep is always the better choice, and that the earlier we get into bed, the more rest we'll get. But we often forget that our body's internal clock, a wonderfully complex system, begins to follow a slightly different rhythm after the age of 70. In this discussion, my goal is to clarify the science of sleep for those in their 70s and beyond. We'll explore why an early bedtime may not be serving you anymore, the hidden health risks of sleeping too early or for too long, and most importantly, what time you should actually be going to bed and how long you should sleep to feel truly rested and rejuvenated. I encourage you to listen closely, as this information can directly impact your daily energy levels and your overall happiness. Before we begin, if you value clear and practical health information for yourself and those you care about, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell. That way, you won't miss out on future health insights. I'm also curious to know where you stand on this. If what I've said so far resonates with you, please feel free to share your own experiences in the comments below. Now, let's return to our topic, the myth of the early bedtime for those over 70. To understand this, we first need to talk about our body's own sleep messenger, a hormone called melatonin. You can think of melatonin as an automatic signal from your brain that it's time to sleep. When your brain releases it in large amounts, you begin to feel drowsy, and your body starts preparing for rest. When its production slows down, you naturally start to wake up. This whole process is managed by your internal biological clock. As we get older, however, this system goes through some important changes, particularly after 70. There are two main reasons why an early bedtime may no longer be right for you. First, your body's internal clock naturally shifts, causing the release of melatonin to be weaker and happen later. The most significant change involves this sleep hormone. Research has shown very clearly that the pineal gland in our brain, which is responsible for producing melatonin, becomes less active as we age. By the time we reach 70, the amount of melatonin our body produces can be substantially lower, sometimes only half of what a younger person makes. This leads to two things. The sleep signals become weaker. With less melatonin, the message telling your brain it's time for sleep isn't as strong. You may not feel that same overwhelming sense of tiredness at a specific hour that you did when you were younger. The signals are also delayed. It's not just that the signal is weaker, the entire biological clock system becomes a bit less responsive. When you were younger, your brain might have started sending out strong sleep signals at 9 p.m. Now, that signal might arrive an hour or two later, closer to 10 p.m. or even beyond. With this in mind, if you try to force yourself into bed at 8 p.m., you're essentially working against your body's natural rhythm. You might want to sleep, but your brain and body are still in an alert, active state because they haven't received the command from melatonin yet. The result is often tossing and turning. The more you try to force sleep, the more awake your brain can become, which only adds stress to the situation. The second reason is that your body's needs have changed, due to lower energy use and less fatigue. Beyond the changes to your internal clock, your lifestyle also plays a major role. In our younger years, life is often filled with work, social activities, and constant movement, which requires a lot of physical and mental energy. The body naturally needs a longer period of sleep to recover. But as we age, and especially after 70, our daily lives tend to become less hectic. Our daily physical activity often decreases, and our body's energy isn't used up to the same degree. Because of this, we simply don't feel as physically exhausted at night. It's like driving a car only a few blocks. The fuel tank is still nearly full, but you're insisting on taking it to the gas station. It just doesn't match the body's actual needs. So, when you combine this lower physical need for sleep with the psychological pressure to go to bed early, it can become a major reason for poor sleep among seniors. Some people might think, well, even if I can't sleep, just resting with my eyes closed is better than nothing. This is a very common misunderstanding. Spending too much time in bed without getting quality sleep not only fails to restore you but can also introduce two serious health risks. Let's discuss those two major health risks of sleeping too early and for too long. The first health risk is falling into a pattern of low-quality, unrestorative sleep. Sleeping for a long time doesn't automatically mean you're sleeping well. The true benefit of sleep is determined not by its length, but by its depth. One of the key changes in sleep for older adults is that deep sleep, the phase that truly repairs the body and brain, gets much shorter. Instead, most of the night is spent in a light stage of sleep. This kind of sleep, which feels long but is often filled with dreams and easily interrupted, can be thought of as superficial or fake sleep. The consequences of this are more serious than you might think. The most immediate result is waking up tired. Even after being in bed for 8 or 9 hours, you might wake up feeling as though you haven't slept at all. Your body may feel stiff, your mind foggy, and you might even experience some dizziness. This can also place an increased burden on your cardiovascular system. Long periods of light sleep can interfere with the normal regulation of your blood pressure and heart rate during the night, which over time can increase the risk of heart-related issues. It can also lead to insufficient blood supply to the brain and cognitive issues. Good, deep sleep is vital for maintaining healthy blood flow to the brain. If your sleep quality is consistently poor, your brain might not get the circulation it needs at night. Over time, this can contribute to symptoms like morning dizziness, memory problems, and slower thinking. Other health problems can also be linked to this. Persistent fatigue could be a sign of other conditions like depression, chronic fatigue syndrome, or even underlying issues like diabetes or sleep apnea, all of which deserve attention. The second health risk is the psychological burden of trying to force sleep. This is the frustrating cycle where the more you want to sleep, the more awake you feel. This risk comes directly from our own minds. Because we've been taught to believe that sleeplessness is a sign of illness or poor health, we can become anxious when we find ourselves tossing and turning. Your mind might start to race with worry. Oh no, I have insomnia again. Is something wrong with me?
If you don't fall asleep soon, I'm going to feel awful tomorrow.
This intense worry about sleep activates our body's stress response. It causes the release of stress hormones, which makes our brain even more alert and can raise our heart rate. The result is that you move even further away from a state of calm rest. It creates a vicious cycle where the anxiety about not sleeping is the very thing that keeps you awake. To make up for this, many people turn to unhelpful habits, like taking very long afternoon naps or staying in bed for hours after waking up in the morning. Unfortunately, these behaviors only weaken your body's natural drive for sleep at night, disrupting your biological rhythm even more and making the problem worse. So, since forcing an early bedtime and sleeping for too long are not the answer, what can we do to find a healthier sleep pattern? Fortunately, doctors have very specific and practical advice. Let's go over the scientific recommendations for healthy sleep for those over 70. The first recommendation is to find your ideal sleep window. This is about what time to go to sleep, and for how long. Based on the natural sleep patterns of seniors, doctors now recommend that the best time to go to bed is generally between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. In this time frame, your body's melatonin production is starting to rise, and your brain is naturally getting ready for sleep. Going to bed at this time means you are working with your body's rhythm, not against it, which can help you fall asleep more quickly and get more of that essential deep sleep. As for how long to sleep, about 7 hours of sleep per night is the ideal target for most seniors. There's no longer a need to aim for 8 or 9 hours. Sleeping too long often just means you're getting more of that light, unrestorative sleep, which doesn't allow your body to fully recover. Just remember, the goal of sleep is quality, not quantity. The second recommendation is to create your own pre-sleep ritual. What you do in the hour before you go to bed is incredibly important for helping you fall asleep within your ideal window. You can establish a fixed, relaxing routine for yourself. First, avoid the stimulation of blue light. Make it a rule to put away your phone, computer, and turn off the TV at least 1 hour before bed. The blue light from these screens is one of the biggest culprits in suppressing your body's production of melatonin. Instead, engage in relaxing activities. Soaking your feet in warm water, around 104 degrees Fahrenheit, can be wonderfully calming and helps promote blood circulation. You could also listen to some slow, soothing music or read a few pages of a light, pleasant book. Also, create an ideal environment for sleep. Your bedroom should be a sanctuary for rest. Make sure it's quiet, dark, and cool. Using blackout curtains can be very helpful. Turn off any unnecessary lights and set the thermostat to a comfortable temperature. All of this helps you fall asleep more easily. The third recommendation is to calmly manage waking up during the night. Waking up once or twice during the night is a very common and normal experience for older adults. There's no need to panic or feel frustrated when it happens.
The key is to have a calm plan. First, maintain a peaceful mindset.
Simply accept it and remind yourself that it's normal. Try not to look at the clock or put pressure on yourself to fall back asleep right away. That anxiety will only make you more alert.
Follow the 20-Minute Rule.
If you've been in bed for about 20 minutes and still feel wide awake, it's best to calmly get up and leave the bedroom for a short time. You can go to a dimly lit living room, slowly drink a glass of warm water, or just sit on the couch and practice a few slow, deep breaths to help your body and mind relax. And if you get back in bed and still can't fall asleep, you can choose to get up again and simply rest with your eyes closed in a comfortable chair. This can still give your body a chance to recover, and it's much better than tossing and turning in bed and creating more mental stress for yourself. Finally, it's important to understand that sleep isn't an isolated event. It's deeply connected to your daytime habits and your overall physical and mental well-being. To sleep well at night, your efforts really begin the moment you wake up. In addition to adjusting your sleep schedule, your daytime habits are just as crucial. Try to get plenty of sunlight. During the day, sunlight is the most powerful natural tool for setting your internal clock. Doctors recommend getting about 30 minutes of outdoor time each day, especially in the morning. Bright, natural light sends a strong signal to your brain that it's daytime, which helps your clock release melatonin more accurately at night. Also, engage in moderate exercise. A daily routine of moderate aerobic activity, like walking, swimming, or even gardening, helps your body use energy and naturally builds up a healthy sense of tiredness by the evening. Just be sure to finish your exercise before 4 p.m. and avoid anything too strenuous within 3 hours of your bedtime. Alright, my friends, today we've taken a deep look at the science of sleep after the age of 70. I hope this discussion has helped you move past the traditional idea that earlier is always better when it comes to bedtime. Let's quickly recap the most important points. There's a common misconception for those over 70. Early to bed, early to rise is no longer the golden rule, because our biological clocks and our body's needs have changed. Remember your ideal window. Your best time for sleep is between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., and the ideal duration is around 7 hours. Make 2 preparations. Manage your daytime habits with plenty of sunlight and moderate exercise, and create a nighttime ritual that avoids blue light and helps you relax. And finally, accept one constant. Waking up at night is normal. Face it calmly, using the right methods to cope, rather than letting anxiety take over. Sleep is a natural need for your body. It isn't a task you have to complete or a test you have to pass. I encourage you to let go of the anxiety and obsession over sleep, and stop feeling guilty if you can't fall asleep right away. Your body is wiser than you think. It knows when it needs to rest. Our job is simply to create the right environment, both internally and externally, and then trust our bodies to handle the rest. When you no longer worry so much about sleep and can approach it in a more relaxed and scientific way, you'll likely find that high-quality, refreshing sleep will naturally return to you. And a well-rested you will be able to better enjoy your life, your family, and your passions. May each of you find the sleep rhythm that works best for you, so you can sleep peacefully each night and feel full of energy every day. If you found this video helpful, please consider showing your support with a like, and share it with the seniors in your life whom you care about. If you'd like to continue receiving scientifically backed, practical health advice that can truly make a difference in your life, please be sure to subscribe to this channel. I'll see you in the next video.